Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Everyone who works at Starbucks, full or part-time, gets stock in our company. Which means that when Starbucks succeeds, our people do too. At Starbucks, benefits like company stock are just the start.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long days, lazy nights, and zero cooking. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite food delivered straight to you. Get Burger King, Subway, Popeyes, and hundreds more local favorites and savor every last bite. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
This MailChimp-verific jingle is brought to you by MailChimp.
MailChimp, your marketing with AI and more. Advanced automations to connect to your store. MailChimp, your marketing and boost your clicks. Multi-channel campaigns now with SMS. That's lit.
MailChimp your marketing today with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-on. Visit MailChimp.com.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
The McDonald's snack wrap is back. You brought it back. Ranch snack wrap. Spicy snack wrap. You broke the internet. For a snack. Snack wrap is back. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Gatorade is the #1 proven electrolyte blend designed to hydrate better than water. So you can lose more sweat and raise your game. Gatorade, is it in you?
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/Spotify. That's greenlight.com/Spotify.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
AI is moving fast. So fast, it's hard to keep up. In fact, in ServiceNow's latest AI Maturity Index, scores dipped 20% from last year. But that's okay, because AI isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. You may be behind today, but tomorrow you could be a pace setter. Dive into ServiceNow's AI Maturity Index and see how you can innovate as fast as your ambitions. Visit servicenow.com/AI maturity.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at jif.com.
This episode is brought to you by Hyundai. Get into the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event and get away with a deal so right, it almost feels wrong. Because right now, you can save big on their most popular models, including SUVs like the Hyundai Santa Fe and Santa Fe Hybrid, and the all-electric Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Visit HyundaiUSA.com. Offers end September 2nd, 2025.
This episode is brought to you by GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco. Get the most out of your vehicle with GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco Original Equipment, the only parts designed, engineered, tested, and backed by General Motors. You can find your perfect fit for most makes and models and choose from 3 tiers of parts, including GM OE or gold and silver aftermarket parts. Visit gmparts.com for more information.
Introducing the new Volvo XC90 with 7-seat versatility, Google built-in, and advanced safety features for all your precious cargo. The new Volvo XC90, designed for life. Visit volvocars.com/US to learn more.
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and Auto Camp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This summer, try the new Strato Frappuccino blended beverage at Starbucks. It's the classic blended iced coffee you know and love, now topped with a creamy layer of handcrafted brown sugar cold foam. Available for a limited time. Your Strato Frappuccino is ready at Starbucks.
Welcome to the HCI family of podcasts. We're your source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We share our own original research, explore industry trends, and interview executives and thought leaders from across the globe. Join us for practitioner-oriented content around all things leadership, HR, talent management, organizational development, and change management. maximize your personal and organizational potential with the HCI family of podcasts.
Kelli Thompson, welcome to the conversation today.
Oh, I'm excited to talk about what we're going to talk about.
It is a pleasure to be with you. You're joining me from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm south of Salt Lake City in Utah. And today we're going to be talking about shifting from a doer mindset to a leader mindset.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
This episode is brought to you by Pacifico. Here's a story you've probably never heard. Legend has it, decades ago, a couple surfers went down to Mexico in search of epic swells, but they found something unexpected instead. It was still crisp, lively, and smooth, but it had nothing to do with waves. It was Pacifico, a delicious Mexican lager. It's like it was brewed to be discovered. Pacifico, find your own way. 21 plus, discover responsibly. Pacifico Clara Beer, imported by Crown Import, Chicago, Illinois.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
I really like that. I love talking about mindset shifts, generally speaking. I think there's a lot of mindset shifts we need to go through to be more effective, to be more impactful, to be better leaders. And this shifting from a doer mindset is one that's intriguing to me, in part because I've kind of always thought of myself as a doer. You know, I'm kind of one of those personalities. It's part of my identity, I think. Like, people know me as someone who gets stuff done. And so, I'm thinking, man, is that something that keeps me from being more effective, a more effective leader? And while they're not mutually exclusive, obviously we need leaders who can get stuff done too. There is something important to that. Like, if you're only focused on getting tasks done, you're going to miss out on a whole lot. And so we're going to unpack that today and really explore that together. As we get started, I just wanted to share Kelli's bio with everybody. Kelli Thompson is an award-winning executive coach and speaker who is on a mission to advance women to the rooms where decisions are made. She has coached and trained thousands of women to trust themselves, lead with more confidence, and create a career they love. She is the founder of the Clarity and Confidence Women's Leadership Group and a Stevie Award winner for Women in Business Coach of the Year. She is the author of the critically acclaimed book, Closing the Confidence Gap, Boost Your Peace, Your Potential, and Your Paycheck. I love everything about that. Is there anything, Kelli, that you would like to highlight by way of your background or personal context before we dive on in?
I think maybe just to, put a pin in exactly what you were saying, I'm a corporate veteran, so I haven't always been off on my own. I spent over 15 years in corporate America, and I like to talk about this topic because, hey, guess what? I only talk about the things that I struggle with. I only talk about the things that I had a problem with. It's kind of like my way to solve my own problems. And honestly, even running my own business, I've struggled, like doing too much doing and really thinking about, Kelli, like, should you be spending your time there, or should you be hiring or outsourcing so that you can free your time up to do the things that you actually need to do to like help your business grow? So I just want folks to know that I'm right in there with you with this topic today.
Yeah. And it really is a challenge because especially when we're thinking about corporate types, executive leaders, we're thinking about entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. I mean, these are people who are often type A. These are people who are achievers, often overachievers. These are people that get stuff done, right? And often you're promoted in a corporate environment because you're someone who gets stuff done, more so than others around you. When you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, you're successful or not, often in large part, at least early on, because you're someone who grinds and you get stuff done, right? But at some point, like you move into certain roles or a certain kind of a stage where there really does start to be a shift in what you need to be spending your time doing, or at least the bulk of your time doing. And it's a hard shift. It's why many entrepreneurs, might be great at the startup phase, but they're not good at the scaling phase. Or, someone who might be a great mid-level, a salesperson or a great engineer, and then they're a, good mid-level supervisor. They move up into an executive role and they can't do it, right? Because they're very different skill sets. I mean, they're just very different types of things that we need to be doing in a workplace environment. So as we get going with this topic, why don't you start by sharing your perspective on why this is so hard, and maybe if you've had, like you alluded to, like some experience with this yourself.
hmm it's so hard because we have to think about how we are brought up. And we are brought up, remember, with gold stars. Oh my gosh, John, you're the
Right.
best. You're the fastest. You did this better than anyone else. You did it growing up in school. We did it growing up early in our careers. And so our reward system just becomes when I do the things and I do them better, faster, and smarter than everyone else, then I get rewards. I think we also live in a US corporate culture where what we do is so ingrained with who we are. It doesn't
Yep.
take long for you to meet someone new and be like, well, hey, what do you do? And so
Right.
when we start to intertwine that who we are with what we do, untangling that can be really painful. And that starts to happen as you advance from doer to leader, because all of a sudden now you're being asked to delegate the things that you've been doing, to coach other people on the things that you've been doing. And that's where the rubber hits the road, is because here you are. And I remember I used to lead training teams and run HR. And so I would delegate things to my new trainers, and I would sit in and observe and watch them train a class. And I think we've all been there. It is really painful to watch someone else struggle doing something that you can do really, really well. And that is the point where leaders really kind of have to make this choice, because it is uncomfortable to watch people struggle. And so what people and leaders often do is they're like, oh, I'll just jump back in and take over because they're making a mistake, or they're just doing it really awkwardly, and I have all this
Right.
secondhand embarrassment. And they start to think like, well, because if I'm not doing all this work and I'm just sitting back and I'm watching and observing, like, then how do I even add value? And so that's where it really becomes a struggle for me when I was in corporate. And honestly, that's where it becomes a huge struggle for my clients too, is their inability to sit with the discomfort and watch someone else do something differently and more awkwardly than they would do it. And so that point where they have to sit back and sit with that discomfort is really where the magic happens, that we can start to coach someone and kind of let them figure it out through that struggle. But all too often they jump in, they take back, they take over. And to your point, many times my clients come to me for coaching because they're stuck in kind of like that director, maybe senior director, VP level role, and they can't get promoted above that because they're spending so much time and energy jumping back in and fixing things, disempowering their team. They're taking on work that, they should not be doing because it's below the strategic level they need to be. And so then what happens is the leadership team, the CEO, the C-suite, sees these individuals as indispensable because they
Right.
do jump in, but they don't see them as executive material. And so that jump to be able to kind of untangle your who with your do, delegate things, watch someone else do things not the way you would do them, and turn into a coach versus someone who's jumping in and saving the day all the time, that switch can be really a big struggle for folks as they want to advance in the organization. And even as an entrepreneur too, this is really
Yeah.
no different.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's that secondhand embarrassment. So sometimes it's just like you just don't like seeing people struggle. And sometimes it really is just, this genuine desire to help, like you see someone struggling and that you know how to do this thing, and you have this genuine desire to help this person. And the real way to help them is to let them have experience and then to coach them and to give them feedback and to let them practice. That's the real way to help them. But in the moment, the real way, the way that goes through your mind is I'm going to swoop in and try to save them. Plus, that's a little bit of an ego boost, and so there's all these things kind of going on. Something else that sometimes happens too, and I've noticed this with certain leaders is if they're not constantly doing, they feel, I mean, you kind of alluded to this, but like if they're not constantly doing, they feel like they're not accomplishing. They feel like they're not signaling to others that they're worthwhile, that they're accomplishing things. And in some cases, they actually, not only do they feel that way about themselves, but they feel that way about others around them too. So I was working with someone recently who 100% they felt this, like I could tell they felt this way about themselves. They're a doer. Like they get stuff done. They're known for getting stuff done. They're good at that, right? They get stuff done. They're struggling, like you said, to just step back, to delegate, to take on more strategic roles. But as I'm listening to this person talk about their direct reports, one of the reasons why, they struggle to delegate is there's clearly not trust. They clearly don't trust their people. They kind of talk negatively about their people. Their people don't get stuff done. They don't know what their people do anyways, and their people don't, work hard, blah, blah, blah. And clearly there was this like this attitude that if their people weren't constantly demonstrating churn of just getting stuff done, regardless of what it was, that they weren't demonstrating their value either. And so when, if there's this mindset of, I just got to be constantly, butts in seats, churning out stuff, getting stuff done, and that's how I define myself. That's how I define my value. That's how everyone around me defines themselves. I mean, that's problematic generally, but it's especially problematic when you start to find yourself in higher level more strategic leadership roles, because that's really not what a strategic leader and executive should be doing. You no longer have all the expertise. You lead a team of people who have expertise in each of their areas. You have to lean on them, rely on them, trust them, empower them to do their stuff. And if you can't do that for whatever reason, if you can't do that, then you're not going to be effective in your role. And as we've alluded to, like there's just a lot of reasons why people struggle with that.
Absolutely. I want to go back to something you said. You said the word trust. They may not trust their people. And so I want to talk about a kind of an overwhelm cycle that starts to happen, because I think this is where a lot of my clients see this, and I know I did too, is, let's just say that we are a doer. And so we take and we take and we take, and, we get delegated stuff and we're like, yeah, I'll do it. And then all of a sudden we get really overwhelmed. And then because we're so overwhelmed, we're forced to delegate, because it's like, oh my gosh, somebody takes something. Well, usually what happens then when we're forced to delegate, there's usually not a lot of thought and intention behind that delegation. So we give it to somebody. And then what do? People make mistakes, because you know what? People are human and people make mistakes. And so then it's like, oh my gosh, that person made a mistake. Well, now I have to take it back and I have to fix it. And then I start telling myself, see, I can't trust anyone. This is why I have to do everything around here. And the whole cycle starts again. But the problem is too many leaders are delegating when the stakes are too high.
Right.
And so, yeah, when you're delegating when the stakes are too high, of course, you're probably going to have someone make a mistake at a moment that we can't make a mistake. They're making a mistake that impacts a client, or you're sitting in front of the board, or you're making a mistake of something that's going out in marketing copy. When the key is if you really want to build trust on your team and psychological safety, the key is to delegate when the stakes are low, because you should actually expect and plan for people to make mistakes. And so when I'm like teaching this, I see folks like having like heart palpitations, and I'm like, okay, if you're having a heart palpitation about somebody making a mistake, then you are not delegating something low stakes enough. And so my task for you listening is to think about what is something that you could delegate that is so low stakes that when someone makes a mistake, you're like, awesome. This means we have a learning moment here, right? They're going to see that this was that weird kink in the process that I had to learn how to do too. And so it's like, find those places where you're okay with people making mistakes, because if you don't allow your team to make a mistake, you're going to be left with a team who was unwilling to try anything new. And so, to start to build that trust, to start to build that psychological safety, it's really important to ask yourself, is this delegation low stakes enough that if they make a mistake, like it's going to be a good thing because it's going to create this learning moment that where all the growth happens.
Yeah, I love that. I think lower stakes is better in so many different contexts of conversation when we're talking about trust. Um, and so often, if we're struggling in any type of relationship, it could be a romantic relationship, a friendship relationship, a workplace relationship, a leader, relationship. In any relationship, if there's a trust issue and we're trying to develop and foster trust and grow that, flex that muscle and build that muscle, like, yeah, of course, you need to start with lower stakes. It's like with a romantic relationship. I don't show up on the first date and propose marriage. Like that would be insanity, right? Like literally it would be insane, and the other person would rightfully run off in the other direction to get away from that because that person's nuts. And it's, I mean, think about that. Like that's equally as insane as if the boss delegates to you like some crazy high stakes thing for the first time that they want you to do something. Why would you do that? Like you're literally setting them up for failure. And usually when that happens, it's also kind of last minute. It's usually like an emergency. So your lack of, timely, thoughtful delegation, your emergency becomes my emergency. And of course, there's going to be things that don't work out perfectly. You didn't do it. You offloaded it to me. Now I have to do it. And somehow I'm supposed to do it perfectly. Like that's insane. And if you take like a second to think about that, I think most normal, thoughtful people will recognize that. But in the moment, like you said, you just get frustrated and it reinforces your thinking about like, see, I can't trust these people. And it's really, really unfortunate. So lower the stakes. Absolutely. Like delegation should be part of like what you do daily with your team, like if you're having a regular environment of coaching, teaching, mentoring, like delegation is going to be happening constantly. You're going to be giving them opportunities to try new things, stretch assignments, and you're going to be giving them feedback along the way. And guess what? As you do that, they're going to feel empowered to try and sometimes fail and learn, and then try new things and learn. And they'll know that like doing something that doesn't work perfectly actually isn't failure. It's learning, and you're going to help them. And by the time they get to those higher stakes in situations, they're going to be ready. They're going to be prepared because they know what to do because they've already had all of these learning opportunities along the way. Like that's such common sense. Yet, we so often don't see that common sense play out in corporate environments. It's kind of crazy.
Well, I think it is common sense because we're slowing down and we're thinking about it. But you have to remember, like when we're in the moment, juggling all the things, we're not using that part of our brain that slows down and is actually thinking about these things. And so that's why I'm always asking leaders, like, well, number one, when are you spending time every week really thinking about how you're intentionally spending your week? And they're like, I don't even know what I could delegate, Kelli. And so I actually always start with, well, let's just start with the place where do you feel most resentment right now? Most resentment or boredom? And they're like, oh my gosh, this meeting. And I'm like, okay, well, is there anybody else in your team in this meeting? Yeah, there's like 3 other team members. Well, why are you there? Like that was my biggest aha is I will never forget a meeting that I was sitting in. It was after it was supposed to be after lunch, but I hadn't eaten lunch yet. So I'm hangry. I'm annoyed. Right. I've been in meetings all day long and I'm feeling resentful and I'm looking around the room and I'm like, why am I even here? I have 3 people on my team in this meeting who honestly probably know more about the topic that I do, but I was invited. And I'm like, honestly, my presence being here actually hinders their development because if somebody asks a question and my team member would answer, what would people do? They would look at me because I was the hippo in the room. I had the highest paid person's opinion. And so I was negating their growth and development by being there. And I'm like, I'm out of this meeting. And then I had to go and tell folks, hey, these individuals are in this meeting. They can make the decisions. I'll catch up with you afterwards. I'll get the TLDR. I'll get the info. And so I tell folks, like, what meetings are you sitting in that you no longer need to belong in? Think about things that are no longer a development opportunity for you. If you have something mastered, ask yourself, is there someone on my team who would be thrilled to learn learn how to like do this analysis or lead this meeting or whatever it might look like. And then you can also ask yourself too, like, what are just things that I've outgrown that would, suit someone else's strengths better? Maybe it's not in your best skill set. Like, is there someone else on your team that just has that skill set there? But it takes time and energy as a leader to actually sit down. I really encourage them, like either on a Friday or a Monday, to really think about these sort of things, because you hit the nail on the head. When you are in the moment of overwhelm, you are just responding and reacting. And that's no place. That's not that side of the brain that needs to slow down and think about, what do I need to accomplish this week? Am I the best person to accomplish it? Is this the best and highest use of my energy? And what else can I spread around so that, I can be freed up as a leader, but it also provides development for someone else as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And, again, if we're trying to get past the point of leadership where we're just running around all day like chickens with their heads cut off, putting out fires. And that's what a lot of leaders spend like 80-90% of their time doing. It's going to meetings and putting out fires, right? I bet when you're talking to clients, people who come to you, that's like what they're doing most of the time, right? Mm-hmm. That's not executive leadership. That's not strategic leadership. Right. That's like, no wonder people are burning out and frustrated and not feeling like they're having an opportunity to progress in their careers, because you don't have any time to do any actual leadership in that kind of an environment. And it becomes a self-perpetuating kind of cycle unless we purposely interrupt it. And it can be really hard when you see yourself in the middle of that cycle. You're like, how in the world do I stop going to all these meetings? How in the world do I stop putting out fires? Because guess what? There are new fires every day. Like, I just have all these things I have to respond to. I can't just not respond to them. Like, how do I do that? So what would you say to someone who recognizes they need to do that, but they're just like, how do I interrupt this cycle so that I can start down a different path? So like, instead of spending 80-90% of my time in meetings and putting out fires, I can get that down to like 60% of my time, and then down to half of my time, and then down to like 30% of my time. What would you suggest?
I often tell folks they usually know when they're at that point because they start feeling emotions like resentment, overwhelm, anger, frustration. So instead of like trying to work through those emotions, actually just acknowledge them, that those emotions are probably there just to wake you up a little bit, that something is misaligned. That is the first clue that something is out of alignment with your values and your talents, is that you're feeling resentment, frustration, or anger. Okay, so just notice. And then the second thing that I would have them take a look at is, okay, what is something that is on your plate that is draining your energy the most? You just absolutely dread it. Just start there. Like, start with one little thing, and maybe it's a meeting, maybe it's a report you have to pull, maybe it's an analysis you have to conduct, right? Maybe it's a email blast you have to send. Like, if that's the thing, ask yourself, can I dump it? Like, do I even need to do it? Or did this like happen post-COVID and I got invited to the meeting one time and now I'm just on the recurring invite, so I keep showing up? Like, can I just dump it? Maybe nobody needs to do it anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
If we can't dump it, can you delegate it? Is there somebody on my team that would love to learn how to write these communications, who would love to sit in this meeting, love to learn how to do this analysis? And if you can't dump it and you can't delegate it, maybe you need to ask yourself, can I outsource this? I'm working with my clients so much these days on outsourced AI tools. I mean, AI is brilliant. We could have a whole separate podcast on that. But there are just so many things that you can outsource either to AI. Maybe you need to outsource something, in terms of, like, when I worked for a small office, we would outsource a lot of administrative tasks. A lot of people who come in and restock our coffee. I mean, just crap like that, So what can you dump? What can you delegate? And then what can you outsource? And we don't need to do everything all at once. It's like, let's just start with the task that's the most draining and work our way up from there and make little adjustments, but really think about, how are you going to spend that new time intentionally as a leader, with the time you have freed up from the time that you have given away from doing that thing you no longer want to do.
Right. And that intentionality is really the key, because that time will get sucked right back up. As soon as you free that up, it will get sucked back up into something else, another meeting, another fire that needs to be put out, another whatever, right? And so you really got to protect it. You got to be very intentional about it. And then, but once you start to do that, guess what? Now you've freed up an hour that you get to be strategic, or that you get to spend time empowering your people and coaching them. And guess what? Once you start to do that proactively, you're going to have less fires to put out. Right. And so, like, next week, instead of spending whatever X amount of time putting out fires, like incrementally, that amount of time is going to come down because people aren't going to have to come to you for every last little thing because they're going to feel empowered to make their own decisions and to solve their own problems and to just all the little dumb things that you have to deal with, you're not going to have to deal with anymore. And all of a sudden the cycle will start to go the other direction, So it's really fun to see when that starts to happen, but only if you protect it. So that really can be a hard thing. And again, the whole reason why we started out this conversation with the mindset shift is because it really requires that shift in mindset, because you can free yourself up. Don't go to that meeting anymore, do whatever. But if that shift in mindset doesn't happen, guess what? You're going to slip right back into it and do the exact same thing with just new stuff, right?
Exactly. That's why that's the hardest part, to make that shift, because here you are, you're over functioning. You're allowing everyone else around you to underfunction. And so all of a sudden, when you stop over functioning, it's that dealing with the struggle and the discomfort of not knowing what to do with your time. That's where the magic happens of making that shift, of being okay with a little bit of discomfort here.
Yeah, I love it. Well, this has just been a great conversation, Kelli. I think we could go on and on, but I do note the time. I need to let you go here in a minute. Before we wrap things up for today, I just wanted to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about your work, where they can find out more information, find your book, those sorts of things, and then give us the final word for today.
Sounds awesome. Yeah, the best place to find me is just to come to my website at kellyraythompson.com. I'm Kelli with an I, R-A-E. Otherwise, I mostly hang out on LinkedIn. I'm at /Kelli Ray Thompson. And my book, you can find anywhere books are sold. If you like the sound of my voice, you can listen to me on Audible. But again, I think I would just really reiterate, remember, when you are over functioning, you are allowing everyone else around you to underfunction. And the world has conspired to keep you in your overfunctioning because they benefit from it. So your choice to become more strategic and more influential and do less doing not only will be a difficult emotional transition for you, but remember, it will also cause other people to jump back as well. But it is okay to allow for a little discomfort, to allow folks to readjust, because you're always teaching people how to treat you, and you can choose to start teaching people how to treat you in a whole new way starting after this podcast.
I love it. Yeah, let's retrain ourselves. Let's retrain those around us. Let's set up some boundaries, right? All of that's so important. Kelli, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, to get connected, find out more about what Kelli can do for you. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We hope you stay healthy and safe, and please join us again soon.